Welcome back, welcome back. Oscar Pistorius was born without a fibula in either of his legs. As a result, both his legs were amputated below the knee when he was 11 months old. But that hasn't stopped him becoming a world-class athlete using carbon fibre blades to power his way round the track. Claims that his blades give him an advantage over able-bodied athletes have been overruled, and he's been cleared to compete in the London Olympics in 2012. If he can meet the qualifying times, he'll be the first Paralympic athlete to compete at the Olympic Games. I spoke to Oscar earlier this week alongside his coach at the Paralympic World Cup in Manchester, here in the UK. Oscar, I gather that after what's happened this afternoon, congratulations are in order.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm very, very chuffed. The 100 metre we ran earlier today, and I managed to get a gold there, and the time was respectable. And in the 400 this afternoon, it was a bit tougher, but I managed to clinch a win there as well. So I'm extremely happy with today's performance.
Congratulations from us all. And in fact, the 400 metres is the most important race in a way, isn't it? Because it's the race that you would like to run in the Olympics, in the able-bodied Olympics, isn't it?
Yeah, the 400 for me is probably my best event. It's the one that we focus on and we train on, you know, all the year round. It's the event that I run the most on the able-bodied circuit and even in the disabled races. And in the Paralympic arena, you know, I've been very lucky that I've still been able to run 100 or 200 races because I really enjoy them. The 200 I also enjoy, but the 400 is really my forte. And you know, coming out here today, I think I'm in good shape for the 400. And the wind was a bit hectic, but I've been really enjoying that. You know, I've always said the 400 is maybe a bit long for me, but my starts aren't great. So where my top speed helps the most is on a longer sprint, and that the 400 is definitely the one.
I see, absolutely. So that's the big one. Hopefully for the Olympics in Britain in 2012.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm going to aim for, you know, in both the Olympic and the Paralympic Games in 2012. And the 400 time for the qualification in Beijing, I missed it by under a quarter of a second. So going into London, you know, I really hope that'll be the one that I'm going to be able to qualify in. And I've got a lot of hard work, but you know, I've got an amazing coach. I've got a lot of people that are behind me. My friends and family have been extremely supportive. And like today, you know, running out here and seeing the crowd that came out to watch the event. You know, they make it a lot easier. So with a bit more training and a bit more sacrifices, I definitely think that I'll be out there running the 400.
And if you can win in the Olympics and the Paralympics, nobody's ever done that before.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to win in the Olympics just yet, but you know, for me the goal is just to be there and to be able to compete. And then once I'm there, obviously I'll give my best to make it to, you know, to advance to the next stages, maybe even to a quarter-final. But you know, it's going to be a tall order just getting there. So for me, that's my accomplishment and the goal I'd like to accomplish at the moment. And then in the Paralympics, you know, still go hard for the 1, 2, and 4. And South African team, we might be putting together a relay pretty soon. So by 2012, I think you know, I should be in a good stead to run both the Paralympic and the Olympic Games.
When you say in a good state at the end of a race, Oscar, are you more exhausted than an able-bodied runner running the 400 metres, or less exhausted?
I'm not really, you know, according to the tests that we've done, we've proved that the prosthetic legs do not provide an advantage. So if anything, I'd probably be more exhausted. But you know, I think the degrees of comparison when you get to the end of a 400 are very minimal. You know, I think every 400 meter run at the end of a race like that, on a hard race, you feel like you're pretty dead. And you know, it's just one of those things. I mean, today after my 400, I felt pretty good. I feel like I'm in good shape.
Now, going right back to the beginning for a moment, Oscar, when did you first realise that you could, although you were an amputee since the age of 1 or under the age of 1, you could do something like this, that you could run competitively?
I mean, I grew up, you know, participating in all kinds of sports from a very, very young age. Probably about 4 years old, I participated in various sports. I mean, I grew up and I played a bit of football and a bit of cricket. And then when I went to high school, I participated in rugby and in water polo. And then in 2003, I had a rugby injury, so 2004 I really started athletics, and I was competing then with a lot of the kids in my school who were, you know, able-bodied athletes, and it was never really a thing of anybody who really told me that I wouldn't be able to achieve it. You know, I've had really wonderful friends from the get-go that have been very supportive, and I mean, they've really seen the way that I view myself, you know, as not really letting anything kind of overcome my disability. You know, I know that I've got 2 disabilities, but I've got far more abilities, I always said, and you know, that's always put me in a good light with my training.
And when you're running, are your strides, for instance, are they longer than the strides of other runners?
No, there was some speculation, or there was 1 or 2 people that said, I read on a blog once that a guy said my stride was 4.1 meters, so I actually wrote in as an anonymous, and I asked him if he'd actually, you know, ever watched one of my races, and this guy said, yeah, no, he'd, you know, viewed many of my races, and I said, oh, that's very interesting, because I can't stride over 2.7 meters, and you get a lot of the sprinters that stride anywhere up to just over 3 meters, so my strides are way within the normal range. There's nothing that makes the legs bounce more or makes them, you know, being able to have these ridiculously long strides. You know, it's pretty much my cadence and my stride lengths are both very much in the norm of everything else.
And how do able-bodied athletes, as it were, how do they treat you? Are they generous or are they oddly jealous, for instance?
Yeah, I wouldn't say a better response from the other athletes as any other able-bodied athlete, but they've treated me exactly like they treat the rest of their peers. And you know, for me, that's always been something really important. I always want to be valued on my own merit in the athletics world, regardless if it's disabled or abled, and that's exactly what I've been able to achieve. So, you know, I've got to prove myself just like any other athlete that's running on the circuits.
Basically, to the people who say that somehow the blades give you an unfair advantage, most of us would see how many disadvantages you have. But do people think you have an advantage?
I think back in 2007 there were 1 or 2, you know, there was a very small minority that had speculated that the prosthetic legs provided an advantage. We luckily got the opportunity to go do tests at Rice University at Michigan Institute of Technology, and we did a whole host of tests. We got of the best kinetic and biomechanics scientists from around the world. We got some serious prosthetic scientists in. We did a whole host of tests, and we took it to the courts of arbitration for sport. We presented where the scientists were involved in the court case, so we presented the court case to them, and there was quite a lot of research that had to go into preparing for something like that, but it was a unanimous decision that there's no way that the prosthetic legs can provide an advantage.
And your mother tragically died when you were 15, before you started concentrating on running, but she did write you a note just before she died telling you to, quote, look after those legs that run so fast. Do you think she knew even then that you were destined to be a gold medalist?
I don't know if she knew I'd be a sprinter, but you know, I was always really keen on sport, and she was very strong-willed, and she always kind of backed me. You know, she never took pity on me because of my disability. She always pushed me to achieve anything that my older brother or my younger sister were doing, you know, physically, and I think that was a huge. It played a huge role in the success that I've been able to achieve and will be able to achieve in the future. You know, it's her hard determination to kind of get me to look after my body and to push myself.
Well, I'm sure that anyone watching us now will, like me, be watching your progress towards 2012. And we wish you all the best and all the luck in the world.
I hope so. Thank you.
And Godspeed, if that's appropriate.
Thank you very, very much, sir. It's been a great honour for me to be on your program, and thank you to everybody who's been able to support not only this BT Paralympic World Cup, but pretty much my progress and my career. It's a great honour to be able to be an athlete and to be able to represent you know, disabled people in general.
Well, thank you so much for representing them so very, very well here yet again. Thanks a million, Oscar. And if Oscar Pistorius, with all of his handicaps, could make such progress by the power of his will, how much more could we achieve in our lives without those handicaps, but with Oscar's drive and faith in tomorrow? That's all we have time for this week, the last programme of our current series until we return in September. But before we go completely, over the next 2 weeks, we've got 2 special highlights programmes coming up as well. Goodbye for now.